A lot of people feel like they have no hope of buying a house, especially if they're a freelancer. Like, when I started freelancing, I feel like that was one of the things I felt like I was sacrificing, like the ability to one day buy a house. I'll never be able to buy a house as a freelancer. Well, I did buy a house. I bought a house now 4 years ago. We're coming up on my 4-year anniversary of moving into my house. And I want to tell you this story because I think it'll be inspiring and motivational and expanding. And you, whether or not you're a freelancer, will, I hope, feel like it's more possible for you to buy a house, even if you are kind of bad with money, like I am. I didn't save for a down payment. I didn't look at a bunch of houses, and I wasn't even planning to buy a house when this happened. It just happened. So I'm telling you this, not to brag, but to help expand your perception of what is possible for you. If you're new here, hello, my name is Colleen Welsh. I am a recovering girl boss, an aspiring music producer, and this channel is about just making your way in the world as a neurospicy person, manifesting generator, Aquarius sun, Gemini moon. I'm basically telling you how I'm living my life with the hope that it will help you. I just wish someone would have told me this shit when I was 25, honestly. Our story begins in late 2019, early 2020. I got back from my year of digital nomadism. It's like a little over a year. I was living with my parents in a small Ohio town I grew up in. I was 30, almost 31, and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of ready to get my own place. I moved in with my parents in 2017 to start my freelancing business.
Are you really working late if you don't tell everybody about it on social media?
Which I talked about in this video. And then I got back from doing all that traveling. I was like, I want my own place. I like miss having like, you know, my own plates, my own couch, like just a place to call my own. And so I was like, I'm either gonna move to Cleveland, which was one of the nearest cities to where I was living at the time, or I was thinking about moving back to LA, which is where I had lived before I moved in with my parents. So I was making budgets, I was looking at stuff on Zillow, I was planning to rent an apartment, and I was like dealing with some personal issues because that fall is also when I quit drinking, which I talked about in this video. So I was just kind of like setting the foundation for the next stage of my life. Let's phrase it like that. But it's interesting because that year, in January 2020, I wrote in my manifestation list a few things. 1, that I wanted to buy a house within the next 5 years. 2, that I wanted to live near the beach. And 3, I wanted to live near water. Well, I'm a non-specific manifester, so the universe was like, oh, you said beach? Do you mean Euclid Beach? Do you mean Edgewater Beach? Water, do you mean Lake Erie? All right, let's move to a new location. So at the time, I only had one income stream, which was freelance copywriting. I'm like laughing now because it's like my life was so simple then. I just did copywriting and nothing else. And my business was earning around 4 to 6K per month. I've said this a million times. But you could be new. You could be a new person. I don't know. If you are interested in learning about that, that is what this channel used to be all about. So go watch my archives because I have a lot more information about how to do that. What I was doing specifically was I was writing website copy, blog posts, email copy, product descriptions, and just like other content, pretty much just for the beauty industry. My most lucrative service at the time was writing SEO content, and I still do that. I consistently emphasize to my clients the importance of ensuring their websites are fully optimized for search engines. While the high quality content I deliver plays a crucial role, it's just one piece of the puzzle. To achieve top rankings on Google, a holistic SEO strategy is essential. That's why I highly recommend the managed SEO services provided by Stan Ventures. Their services are not only affordable, but comprehensive, addressing every aspect of optimization needed to elevate both your website and my content to the highest rankings of Google. This chair might break if I sit on it, to be honest with you. It's like my magic collapsible chair. Now back to the story. In early February of 2020, my best friend invited me to visit her in Cleveland. And while I was there, she mentioned that the house across the street was gonna go up for sale. And she was like, you should buy it. And I was like, haha, I can't buy a house. I mean, like, how could I afford a house? Like, I had basically no money because I took everything that was in my savings accounts and I paid off my credit cards. I had no money. Hold on, this is getting very distracting. I don't have makeup on right now. Just deal with it. This is my face. Deal with it. And then I'd also like recently read Profit First, which is this book about how to do bookkeeping as a small business owner. Following the advice of the book, I'd set up all these new bank accounts and I was like trying to adapt to this new bookkeeping system, and I don't know, I didn't have any money is what I'm trying to say. I was not like in a great financial spot. My credit score was fine, but I just didn't have any cash. I didn't have any like liquid assets. Or any assets, let's be real. But then over the course of this dinner we were having, she told me that this house was going to be listed for $88,000. And I was like, that's a lot less than I was expecting. I was thinking like it would be like at least twice as much as that. And then her husband like told me that when they bought a house in this neighborhood, obviously, the mortgage lender they used has a mortgage with like a really low down payment and a low interest rate, and that they also have down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. He also told me that there was a grant that you could apply for in this particular area where they would also give you money for a down payment. I did like some calculations and I realized like with those two things that would cover the entire down payment. I was like, maybe I can afford it. Since this house was empty, my best friend and I took her baby and then we were like peeking in the windows and like checking it out, and it looked so cute. This isn't like a huge house, but it is a big house for one person. I don't remember the square footage. It's a 3-bedroom house though, and it has a finished attic. So it was like way beyond what I could have ever thought of for myself at this point. Like I was looking at like studios and 1-bedrooms. I had no conception of myself living in a space like this and owning a space like this. It was like insane to me. But I really liked what I saw. It's always been my dream to own a 1920s colonial. I don't know why. So I called the real estate office or whatever. I called the realtors that were gonna list it, and I made an appointment to visit, what is it called? A showing. I don't know. I made an appointment to view the house the day it went on the market, and in the meantime, I applied to be pre-approved for a mortgage. So when you're going to a house, I am not an expert on buying houses. I bought one house, but when you go to view a house, you want to be pre-approved for a mortgage in case you want to put an offer down right away. And that's what happened. I came here, I looked at the house, I told the real estate agent like, okay, great, I'd like to put in an offer. And he was like, do you want to like look at another house or, and I was like, nope, I'll take it. The realtor wrote a letter to the seller and explained my situation, which is that my best friend lives across the street and she has 3 little kids and I just want to be close to them, you know? The seller ended up approving my offer even though I didn't have like the strongest financials of the people that made offers, because other people made offers at the same time. Yeah, I got the house based on the letter. Walk into my house! Which was like, I still like, just telling this story again, I cannot believe that this happened to me. Like, I can't believe it. It was such a crazy manifestation. And I remember that she specifically had told her agent that she was choosing me to sell the house to because she knew that the house would be filled with a lot of love. And it is, right? I mean, probably my vision for myself was more that I would get married and have a family, and maybe I still will in this house, but like I have my dog, I've had lots of like fun improv practices here and parties, and then I've made all these videos here. I built this whole business from this house, so it has been filled with so much love, and yeah.
I'm sorry, but have you ever seen a cuter baby in your life? She's like kind of annoyed with me, I think.
Peaches is hungover because we were at my parents' house for a whole week and she was playing with their dog. So getting a mortgage was kind of dicey. First of all, there was the issue of earnest money. Earnest money is a payment that you submit to let the buyer know that you're serious about the offer. I'm gonna move this down. And for some reason, I don't know why, but they let me know at the last possible second that I needed to make an earnest payment. My parents don't live in Cleveland, so I was like kind of far away from here. And I was given the option of doing a same day wire transfer or driving to Cleveland and dropping off a check. Well, since I moved all my bank crap around, my new bank didn't do wire transfers and I didn't have checks. And they also wouldn't transfer money to an account where I did have checks that day. And it was a big problem. And my mom was like, well, I can give you money. And it was $1,000, which I borrowed from my parents. I did pay them back, I think. I don't remember. Maybe they gave it to me. Isn't that terrible? Well, anyways, my mom and I like sped to the bank. And like we got there within like 5 minutes of the cutoff for the same day wire transfers, and the person who did them was like on lunch and we didn't know when she was gonna come back. It was so stressful, but we did get it sent out. And then on the way home we saw a DeLorean, which is just interesting. I don't know. I wrote that in my diary, like, and then we saw a DeLorean.
It's a real DeLorean in the wild. Wow.
The other issue that I had with my mortgage was because my bank accounts were so new. The bank really wanted 2 months worth of statements, so we had to just like wait for the bank to generate another month's worth of statements because I only had 1 month of statements because it was like they were all new accounts. So that was also very annoying, as you can probably imagine. Oh yeah, and the other stressful part of that was that this happened during February and March of 2020. So like, you know, when I viewed the house, we did the home inspection, we were like, have you heard of this coronavirus thing? And then by the time I was like signing the papers, I had to like wear a mask and like put antibacterial gel on my hands and stuff. So luckily my best friend's husband and his brother moved the possessions I did have up here, because I don't even know if I would have been able to hire movers. It seems like everybody was trying to move at that time. And even though I did not have to make a down payment, which is obviously by far the most expensive part of a home buying process, there were still a lot of things I did have to pay out of pocket for, like the home inspection and home insurance. And since I have like an old house, my home insurance is very expensive because of the electrical situation. I did buy furniture and I had to rent a moving truck. I hesitate to give any advice on this situation. Obviously, like the market is different now, but I still think that there's still possibilities and hope for you. And if you want to buy a house, you don't have to buy a house. I'm not like a person who thinks everyone needs to buy a house. There are some reasons why I think this was able to happen for me. Like, first of all, I had like a pretty good, stable income as a freelancer, you know, even though like $4,000 a month isn't like that much, it was stable. That's how much was coming in at least every month. So that was good. I also had expanders of people my age who had bought a house in this exact neighborhood, and I knew that they didn't make like a bunch more money than me. That made it feel really possible for me. I also had the privilege of having parents who had purchased houses in the past, so they were able to give me some guidance. I grew up in houses for the most part that we owned, so that gave me some like, I guess just like an expectation that I should own a house in my 30s. That just felt normal to me. Whereas like if I had always grown up in apartments that were rented, it wouldn't feel normal. It would feel like a lot further away, if that makes sense. Also, my parents were able to lend me $1,000 for the earnest money that was also needed. I was able to produce tax returns and bank statements that proved that I was making a stable, regular income as a freelancer. And I chose to live in an inexpensive house, in an inexpensive neighborhood, in an inexpensive city.
I mean, that's part of it. If I had moved back to LA, I would not own a house. Absolutely not. If you don't know, I'm very big into TBM, TB Magnetic. I have a video about it here. So there were like some energetic things that happened around me at the time that I believe created some like magnetism that allowed this manifestation to come through. One is that I had paid off $8,000 worth of credit card debt. I don't like to have debt. I have a lot of debt, mostly student loan debt. I think energetically debt is not great and I would like to be free of it. I had probably like one of the worst clients I've ever had at the exact same time that I came up here to visit my friend and we looked at this house. I think like on the day that we looked in the windows, I called this guy and was like, you need to leave me alone. Like, don't call me on the weekend. And this guy was like harassing me. He wanted me to do all this work that was outside of our scope, and I had to do it like tonight on Sunday. Like, I don't work on the weekends. And that was the last time I ever gave a client my cell phone number. Yeah, I like set a boundary with that client, and I did wrap up that project, but like we ended that relationship because he was nuts. And the other thing that happened is during this time, my evil ex-boyfriend contacted me yet again, even though it was 2020 and we had broken up in 2013. He contacted me yet again, and I was like, hey, don't talk to me anymore. I do not want to hear from you. And I'd always been blocking him, but you know, I have to be on social media for work and, well, for my art. Like, I had to be on social media. I can't like just not be on social media because I'm being stalked and harassed. I'm not gonna let someone stop me from doing what I want to do. But I was like, hey, stop contacting me. That's pretty much all I said. If you do not contact me anymore, I do not want to hear from you. So yeah, I think like by eliminating some of my debt and then setting those boundaries, I created situational magnetism that allowed the manifestation of the house to come in. So I think the lessons that you could take away from this, maybe, because I am terrified of becoming some kind of internet guru about anything else. If you want to buy a house, this is for people who want to buy houses. If you know anyone who lives in the area that you want to buy a house in, talk to them about it. Because you might be surprised, like, people will, like, actually go into the details of their finances with you and help you to understand, like, what's going on, because it does kind of seem like it's a big mystery, right? Like, we never know how much money people make and how much they have in their bank accounts and how much they're investing, and it's like this taboo subject. But you might be surprised, like, someone will go into detail about their mortgage and like how they save for their down payment and how much their home insurance costs and all that stuff. And that can really be expansive. If my friend didn't tell me about their experience, I would have never guessed that I didn't need a 20% down payment to buy a house here. You know, I would have just been like, oh, well, I don't have $17,000 laying around, so I can't buy that house. Like, it would be nice, but I don't have any savings. I would have never guessed that in a million years. Another lesson could be live in the Midwest. Like, sure, Cleveland doesn't have like the cultural cachet of LA and New York, but it does definitely have its upsides. Like, it's actually a cool place to live. It's like really underrated, I would say. There's like a cool art scene, nice nature, kind people. It honestly really surprised me how much stuff there is to do here and how many artists live here. Like, I always meet people who, they write novels, or they're like a singer-songwriter, or they build guitars, they like recording, they're a painter, they have like a songwriting community, like they have an improv theater. Like, I just meet like a lot of interesting people that live here. And actually, compared to LA, it's so much easier to meet people and make friends here. And it's easier to get around. I mean, it takes forever to drive anywhere in LA. It's such a pain. Another takeaway would be make sure you have a way of sending earnest money, whether that is a bank that allows you to do wire transfers or checks, or if you just want to drop off an envelope of cash somewhere, you need to have a way to do that. If you are a freelancer, you'll probably need to be making like a stable income for 2 years. And that's just if you want to get a mortgage on your own. If you were gonna do it with somebody else, then you wouldn't have to worry about it. So that's the story of how I bought a house as a freelancer. I hope this was helpful for you. Oh wait, the last thing. Here's one other thing that could be useful is to look into getting a grant and look into down payment assistance for first-time home buyers. You might be surprised what is available for you in your area. Probably that's not going to be available if you live in a super competitive market, but like if you live in an area like where I live, where they're like, please live in the houses, they're all gonna fall down, then you could probably get a little help from the government or other foundations who want to see people who are gonna live in these houses and take care of them. All right, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe, leave a comment, whatever. I hope this is helpful to you. If there are particular videos that you would like to see, let me know. Upcoming, we have filming a video on quitting social media for a month, which I'm currently experiencing. We have one about how to edit YouTube videos faster, and we have one on my song went viral on TikTok. Okay, that's all. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. I'm trying not to be too loud because the baby's sleeping.
I hope that this is in focus. I can't tell if this is focusing on me because I don't have my glasses on. Okay, it's focus.
I'm sorry.